A millennia-old principle hidden within the world's most famous psalm may be explaining why abundance does not stay in your life, even when it arrives. Listen here with full attention. I know you have heard Psalm 23 dozens, perhaps hundreds of times, but I assure you, after today, you will never read this psalm the same way again. Because there is one word, a single Hebrew word, within this text that the Kabbalists considered the secret key to prosperity, and most people pass over it without noticing. When I began to study the Psalms from the perspective of Kabbalah, I realized that the masters did not read the texts as we read. We read at the surface, for the obvious meaning. They read for the roots of the words, for the numerical values, for the connections between letters. And when you enter this level, Psalm 23 reveals secrets that transform your understanding of money, abundance, and divine providence. There is a parable told in my family's tradition about my grandmother Leah, who arrived in Brazil around 1929, coming from Galicia, on the border between Poland and Ukraine. She was a simple woman, a seamstress, barely knew how to read. But she recited Psalm 23 every day of her life, from memory, in Hebrew. And when asked how she supported her family during the toughest years, she would reply, "I have no secret. I have a shepherd." This answer seemed naive to those who did not understand, but for those who know the depth of what she was saying, it was the most powerful declaration possible. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Each video I bring opens a new layer of these ancient teachings. And tell me in the comments, what does Psalm 23 personally mean to you? I want to know. Let's get straight to the secret. Psalm 23 has 6 verses, and the central verse, the third, is where the key is hidden. Lead me in paths of righteousness for your name's sake. Yenahaleni b'ma'agle tzedek lema'an shemo. The key word here is ma'agle, paths, circular ways. This word comes from the root igul, circle. Kabbalists point out that David did not use the word derek, straight path. He used ma'agle, circular paths. Why? Because abundance, in the Kabbalistic view, is not linear. It is not a straight line from point A to point B. It is a cycle. It is circular. Just like the seasons, just like the moon, just like the Jewish calendar, prosperity operates in cycles. And most people want linear prosperity, work, immediate results. But Kabbalah teaches that abundance circulates. It comes out of you through tzedakah, generosity, work, and returns to you multiplied. But it returns in a circle, not in a straight line. This explains why many people get confused. They give and do not see immediate return. They work and do not reap in the same season. They plant and the harvest takes time. It is not because the system does not work. It is because the system is circular, not linear. Ma'agle tzedek, the circles of justice. Tzedek here does not mean just justice in the legal sense. Tzedek in Kabbalah is connected to the Sephirat Yesod, the foundation that channels all the energy of the upper Sephirat into the material world, into Malchut. Yesod is called Tzaddik, the righteous, and the path of Yesod is circular. When the psalmist says, "Guide me in the circular paths of Yesod," he is asking to be inserted into the divine cycle of abundance. Not the cycle of the world, which is race, competition, exploitation, but the cycle of God, which is to give with intention, receive with gratitude, give again with greater capacity. Now comes the second layer of the secret. The verse continues, Lema'an shemo, for the sake of his name. Why does prosperity come? For the love of God's name, and not by our merit. The Kabbalists explain with the concept of Or Choser, the returning light. In Kabbalah, God emanated his light to create the world. This is Or Yeshar, the direct light. But the light that returns to him, the light that ascends when we act with kindness, generosity, and faith, that is Or Choser. And this returning light generates pleasure in the higher realms, so to speak. When God sees his abundance circulating properly in the world, flowing out as blessing, returning as gratitude, flowing out again as generosity, this glorifies his name. So prosperity does not come as a mechanical reward. It comes because it is part of the divine purpose that his name be glorified through the circulating abundance. When you prosper and use that prosperity with kavana, with sacred intention, you are participating in the glorification of the divine name. And this is the deepest reason why abundance exists. Do you understand the revolution this causes in the mind? Most people think money is dirty, material, worldly. Kabbalah says money is a vehicle of Or Choser. It is an instrument of light, but only when it circulates in the Ma'agle Tzedek, in the circles of justice. The fourth verse reveals another secret. Gam ki elech begei tzalmavet lo ira ra, ki ata imadi. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Gei tzalmavet, the valley of the shadow. In the Kabbalistic reading, this valley is not necessarily physical death. It is any period of absolute darkness. It can be a bankruptcy, a divorce, an illness, a debt that seems unpayable. And what David is saying is, even in that valley, God is present, and his presence is enough to remove fear. In Kabbalah, fear, pachad, is associated with gevurah in its unbalanced aspect. When gevurah operates without chesed, it generates fear, contraction, paralysis. And fear is the greatest blocker of prosperity that exists. Not because fear mystically attracts poverty, but because fear paralyzes action, distorts decisions, and closes the eyes to opportunities. Psalm 23 is an antidote against pachad. When you recite Lo ira ra, I will not fear evil, you are directly working on the sephirah of gevurah, balancing it with the hesed of the shepherd who provides. Imagine someone like Mr. Antonio, a 49-year-old family man who lost his job and has been looking for work for months. Fear dominates, shame corrodes. The feeling of being in Gei Tzalmavet is real. When a person in this situation begins to recite Psalm 23, understanding these levels, not as an emotional crutch, but as spiritual alignment, the first result is often a decrease in fear. And when fear decreases, clarity increases. Decisions improve. Doors appear. Now, the practice. 3 specific exercises based on the secrets we revealed today. Exercise 1. Circle meditation. Sit in silence. Visualize a golden circle around you. This circle represents the Ma'agle Tzedek. Imagine abundance flowing in through the top of the circle, flowing through your life, exiting through the base as generosity, and returning through the top multiplied. As you visualize, recite the 3rd verse of the psalm. Yenahaleni b'ma'agle tzedek lema'an shemo. Do this for 3 minutes daily for 21 days. Exercise 2. The practice of Or Choser. Every time you receive something good, a compliment, a payment, a kindness, before any reaction, pause and say mentally, "Thank you, may this light return to the high." This simple act of awareness places you in the cycle of Or Choser and keeps the ma'agal, the circle, in motion. Exercise 3. Recitation of the 6 verses. Recite Psalm 23 in full once in the morning and once at night for 40 days. In each verse, pause and identify, where am I living this verse in my life now? Am I in the green pasture? Am I by the still waters? Am I in the valley of the shadow? Am I at the table before my adversaries? This awareness contextualizes the psalm in its reality and enhances its effect. For those who desire a complete study of the 150 psalms from a Kabbalistic perspective, I have in-depth material available at the link in the description. Now, the warning. When you start to work with Psalm 23 at this level of depth, your rational mind will resist. It will say, "It's just a text. Words don't change reality." When this happens, remember, the world was created with words. Vayomer Elohim, and God said, and there was. The sacred words carry the same creative energy that formed the universe. Do not underestimate the power of what comes out of your mouth when it is aligned with the will of heaven. It may be that in the first few days you feel nothing. Keep going. The seed has been planted. The rain will come at the right time. Your job is to keep the soil open, and the soil is your heart. If you practice and notice something, a change of perspective, a significant dream, a door that opened, come back here and share. Your story inspires others to persevere. Let's recap. The hidden secret in Psalm 23 is the word ma'agle, the circular paths. Abundance is not linear, it is cyclical. It operates in the Ma'agle Tzedek through Yesod. The returning light, or Choser, is generated when we use abundance with purpose. And the valley of the shadow is not the end. It is the passage that leads to the already prepared table. May the Eternal, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, insert you into the Ma'agle Tzedek, the sacred circles of prosperity. May the light that comes out of you return multiplied. May in the valley of the shadow his presence be real and his rod comfort you. May the table of abundance already prepared be revealed before your eyes. And may goodness and mercy follow you all the days of your life. Ken Yehi Ratzon. So be it. Amen. Leave a like, subscribe, share, and tell me in the comments which secret of Psalm 23 impacted you the most today. In the next video, I will reveal to you the 777 rule of Jewish money, a system that banks don't want you to know about. Don't miss it. Shalom Aleichem.